Hi everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be making a Valentine watercolor paper, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of watercoloring. And this is Winsor & Newton paints and a little travel kit. And I'm using a jar of water there, and I have it on a clipboard on one of those lap desks that you can just sit on your lap. But the main reason I'm using that is just because it is a clipboard. I am using some painter's tape to hold the paper down a little bit in case it starts to buckle and ride up a little bit. But I'm spraying it with a spritzy bottle to get the paper wet. It's Canson XL watercolor paper, and I'm using a Pentel water brush. I wish now, in hindsight, that I'd had a large brush. I need to buy one, just a wider brush. It would have taken a lot less time. But I really sped this up because I didn't want to worry you, but because it's quite drawn out. But I got to having so much fun. I love working with watercolors, even though I don't know that much about them. But it's just fun to play with. It's a fun medium, I think. But anyway, so I'm spreading it out, putting more water on, squirting more water on through that water bottle, and I put some purple on there. I didn't really like the purple. Spent quite a bit of time trying to get rid of the purple with the white, and then went back over it with some blue. But and I experimented with dabbing that off and dabbing some of the water up, and then streaking the paper with the piece of fabric to kind of make more streaks. And anyway, I had a good time, and I spent way more time on it than I should have, and that's the reason I'm speeding it up so much. But anyway, I do go back and do the sky, and of course I want it to look like a different color from the water, so I make it more green and blue, and I wanted it to be really light. So I'm trying to mix those paints up there a little bit and start streaking it on. I get the sky paper wet up there, and then I like the color just fine, but I just didn't want it to be that dark. So I go back with a piece of fabric and I just start wiping it off in a real streaky fashion, and so I just have a little bit of color left, but that's what I wanted, and so I was happy with that. Now I made enough that I'm going to get 2 cards out of this. I'm going to cut it down, cut it into 2 pieces. But this is the Valentine card set. It's called Vintage Valentines, and there's many cute little stamps that are in there. I'm just going to use this one little one called Can You Be Mine? Can You Be Mine? And I've used some of those others and just love this little stamp set, but maybe I'll get around to doing another one before Valentine's is over. But I stamped it with the VersaFine ink, pigment ink, and using my Prismacolors there, pencils, and going back and coloring, and was kind of holding my breath if the ink was dry, and it was, so I was tickled about that, and debated over the colors because I wanted them to blend in with all the colors I used in the water. I thought about making the boat even a light lilac, or I think that's actually called amethyst, but I decided to make it more realistic, and I used the red for a dress for Valentine's, and then I did use the kind of amethyst lilac looking heart with some pink. I made her hair yellow just because I thought that would look good against the blue background. And so just showing how there's that same little touch of orchid there, or amethyst, and tried to make it look good together. And then I went back and kind of blended some of those other colors into the other colors, just to kind of very subtly try to tie it all together. So I sped up all of that, and I'm speeding up the cutting out. But I wanted to show you what the process is, not just to completely ignore. The process does happen. Then I place it on the paper there and show you. You could put it way at the top. You could put it lower down. You could put it even lower down. Of course, the choice is yours. Now I decided I wanted a little something up in the sky area, so I'm just playing around with cutting out some hearts in those same colors. I'm going around with the neutral ink and my makeup sponge there to put an edge on it, just to give it a little dimension and a little oomph there along the edges. And then set them aside. I'm putting some ink on them to set them aside. Not ink, glue. This is Tombow repositionable glue. And put quite a bit on that color, watercolor paper, since it is so thick and a little bit warped. And this is how I set that up. I put not only that big heavy book, but that big heavy jar of utensils or supplies and my tape dispenser, and it just came out beautifully. It really adhered and went smooth on me, and so flat. So I was really tickled with the way that turned out. So since I knew about where I was going to position the canoe, I thought, well, I'll just play with these hearts. It's repositionable glue on there, so I can take it off if I don't like it. I could put something completely different. I could put a sentiment up there that says Happy Valentine. I thought it would be cute to even just have a banner going across there as if it's being pulled through the air with an airplane, and but I just didn't take the time to make that. But there are so many things you could do, and that's where your creativity comes into it. These are just examples and ideas. I had marked with a pencil about where I wanted to place these, and I thought this might be a good time to erase some of that before I put it down. And then again, I had marked where I decided to put the canoe, and it looked good several different places. It didn't really matter, but it could have been all the way to the top, but for some reason I liked that place better, so I went ahead and put it there. And then that dark pink heart down there, I just thought, just kind of at the last minute for fun, I thought, I think I'm just going to stick it down in the bottom corner. I'm not sure that's the best place for it, but it just added a little spot of color down there amongst all that dark blue. So again, you may have something, you may have different size shaped hearts that would look really cute to larger and smaller, and there's a lot you can do with this. It's just a Valentine. It's a gift from you to someone else, and they're not going to sit around and criticize what you made for them out of love. So that's pretty much it. I want to go back with, well, first I'll show you what it looks like with some of these different colors, and that's how pretty I think it looks against that color that's called amethyst. And I thought that it really picked up that color in the water, and so does this one. And so I thought if you wanted to go back and put another background on that card, here's a darker blue, of course, and then the two of them together. You could always go back and put a border around the card and make the card larger, or cut that card down and put, a 1/4 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch little edge around it. Those colors look really pretty together. The sky's the limit, really. And so I started to say a while ago, this is, I went back and got my pens, my little micron type pens, and thought at kind of at the last minute, one thing that you could do if you wanted to personalize it, and maybe it's for a child or not, it doesn't matter. I thought you could go back and write I love you on those hearts, or I heart you, and make it really personable, and or personal, I should say. And then it would totally be you with your handwriting, and that would work also. So, and that is a slightly different pink, you can see, so you can see which pink you like better. Play with your pinks and your purples, and it's amazing how some look better than others. So whatever you have in your stash, play with your colors. And so anyway, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to show you some snapshots that I did, some still shots of just what it looks like in different colors. And as you look at those, I will say goodbye, and thank you so much for coming today, and I enjoyed it. And get out your supplies and make something today. So thank you again, and we will see you hopefully in a few days.